control over their courtrooms, right? And I think this judge in particular, in this particular case, is going to be particularly sensitive to the need to control the proceedings. And my guess is his feeling at this point is there's no need to bring the cameras in. There's no need to create any additional spectacle beyond what the case is already going to generate. So I didn't see this as being a particularly surprising move by this judge.
What do you think about the possibility of a gag order? How does a gag order work, and how does it, I guess, impact the case itself? And we know that, you know, Trump has been very vocal here. How can it impact him specifically?
Yeah, that's a good question. We don't know at this point whether the judge is planning to issue any gag orders. I would think at this point, as of today, probably not. I think it's unlikely that we're going to see anything like that from the proceedings today. There might be some discussion in the courtroom of the judge's expectations of the parties during the proceedings, and that would be an admonition to both former President Trump and to the prosecution team. But I think it's unlikely that we'll see any kind of a formal order today. Now, that is possible in the future. And a lot of that will depend upon what is said either from the prosecutor's office or from President Trump or his legal team. So it's possible that in the future the judge could
At the real, luxury is Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Prada. Luxury is scoring something.
We'd like to
for his family. Right. And for quite why that right? Okay, you're probably going to have this book on just go down.
Let's go first to Martha Kellner, who is in Palm Beach. So, Martha, well, tell us what's the scene there? This is quite some 48 hours ahead.
It certainly is a historic 48 hours for this country. Donald Trump still somewhere behind those gates.
They don't want you to know this.
It's legit. Like, it's not, I'm not like, I don't know how they do it. Like, they must be taking into account other. We'd like to,
USA, free Mao Squad, and take down the CCP. 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 Take down the CCP.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bringing a few familiar faces that we've seen here. at many Trump rallies, Black for Trump. So you guys have been a big supporter of him, literally from the point he rode down that escalator there at Trump Tower.
Well, really before that, in 2011, when he announced that he was going to run, my band played out there for him. And I actually introduced him and stood right behind him with 30 Black people. So, yes, that's true.
And you're just about at every rally. I think our viewers are very familiar with you guys. But let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
You're here today.
Yes, sir.
Why?
Because we're here to show, boo,
Yeah.
they didn't scare us.
Yeah.
Alvin Bragg, you didn't scare me with that boo, because they know that normally Black people, when they see boo or they see the police arrest a person, Black people ain't gonna even let you call them no more. You understand? They're so afraid. So Bragg, that boo didn't work. Now you gotta face Trump head on, and we're gonna be here every time you try to bring Trump here, and we're gonna be beating the hell out you in my little magazine. I'll give you my magazine right here.
Go ahead.
This magazine is the magazine that tells the story about Alvin Bragg and how that nut and Letitia James got $750,000 from Dutch Bank, and then went against Trump about Dutch Bank, which is a conflict of interest. And Alvin Bragg's got money from, what's that guy's name? George Soros, who owns 20% of Dutch Bank. There's just a whole big ring of stupid.
What's your thoughts on Eric Adams calling out Marjorie Taylor Greene and kind of putting her on notice that he knew that she was in the city? I've had people come to me that are from the city, and they've told me that kind of giving her location is almost a dog whistle for people to show up and kind of do what they tried to do today and shut her down.
Yeah, well, that's why I marched around the back. There was some guys trying to get to him. So,
really?
See, they're afraid of me because they know I'm the real Black man. And if you try to be stupid, I told the dude talking about he gonna kill Marjorie Taylor Greene and all this stuff. I said, boy, if you step towards her, I'm gonna bust your ass. And guess what? He said, okay, all right, so that's how it is. I said, nigga, that's how it is. You can't say that, but I can say it.
Yes, sir.
But I gotta be real, because if I don't be real like that, they'll run us over. You understand? So you notice nobody touched her, but you know what he was telling the police? He was standing right behind on stage. You know what that boy told him? He said, you touch me, I'll beat all y'all ass. I said, y'all let this punk talk to you like that? I went off on that character. Because, see, I can go off on them because they know who I am. They accuse me of sedition, seeking to overthrow America and killing white people. Yeah. I was found innocent of that. But they don't care about that. They are scared of me because they think I'll do it. Yeah. So,
well, I know you won't, though. I know you love us.
No, not you. No. I would never do you. But if he tried to hit me, I would bust him down to the ground. Yeah. Because my job is to protect Trump like the immortals protected King Cyrus and Xerxes. My job is to protect them and keep them from calling him a racist. I love your station and I love what you do because you have always acknowledged me. Fox News won't even let me near the building. Like with Romney, when I was talking to Romney, Fox News there, you know what he told me? I don't want little Black boys to help me. That's how I know they're racist. You understand? Yeah. You guys, I've never, ever gotten that from you.
Yeah, well, you never will.
No,
never will. I know. We admire you guys being out here because we need more supporters.
For being brave enough to be out here and go. You hear all these guys swarming around you? We just cussed those guys out over there, and they're swarming around you because they're trying to scare you. Yeah. They're little punks. They're fairies. You can whoop them. Don't be afraid of them, my people. Stand up and be strong. Blacks for Trump, baby. Blacks for Trump.
Thank you so much. God bless you guys being out here. Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you guys coming out here. Good to see you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. There you go. They're always a familiar sight at any Trump event. Let's walk around over here. Let's go see it. We're just going to walk around. If you're just now joining, we are going to take a commercial break at 12 o'clock local time. So about 10 minutes, we're going to go to a commercial break, perhaps get a update from the studio. Let's see what this guy's saying.
He's a walking felon. Trump is a walking felon. Lock him up.
Walk him out.
Lock him up. Lock him up. Trump felon.
You do. You escort them out to the other side. That's how you de-escalate a lot of tension. Now we have this guy here, and he's basically, he should be on the other side.
They believe that he can walk on water. If they see a picture of Trump walking on water, they'll say, sure, he walked on water. Doesn't matter. He is going to get his documents case when he tried to overthrow the federal free and fair election. Done felony. Just for him felony. He really thinks something's going to come of this guy. Just for him felony. This guy really thinks felony. Done felony. I'm a veteran, and I was born and raised here. So was I. All right. Don't be surprised when everybody's starting to United States in the United States Marine Corps, and I'm exercising my public right to free and protest. There we go. And my right to show a protest.
This is one of the reasons why you don't allow to mix the two sides together, because you do get this little exchange, which is fine.
Lock him up!
It's just a joke.
Lock him up!
Politically motivated prosecutor. It's just a joke.
We've had enough of that. Let's walk over here for a little bit. Maybe give you a good idea of what the media. We haven't really shown you other than initially. Sorry. Don't think we can go around there. I was going to see if we can. But look at the size of the media. This is kind of what a lot of the stand-ups at Nightly, when you see some of the legacy media and even the local media to a certain extent, and the tents that they put up, they've got almost miniature, production studios here on site. This has been one of the ways this has grown since just about 10 days when we were here before. Okay, what we do, let's go out this day. We'll kind of go out. We'll toss to a commercial break right in front of the courthouse here. So we'll go straight. We'll walk off to the left. Just now joining us, we're live here in Lower Manhattan in front of the court here, covering. We had a rally, if you will, here earlier around 10:30. That lasted about 15 minutes and then was quickly shut down due to the amount of protest and just really media swarming around that press conference, made it very difficult to thank you very much. Thank you. To navigate through here. Go this way. We're going to go back to the front of the courthouse. If you're thinking about pulled up a barrier here. See if we can get up on it. Yeah, they are going to, it looks like they're going to lock this area down. Now, earlier, if you recall, this is where people were coming in, walking through here. This is off of, I believe this is Lafayette, crosses over to the other side. So they have shut that down. This is kind of a part of a crowd control, if you will. They need to have some type of barrier, some type of safety area to put in place. See the New York trucks offloading some of the fencing around this area. Now, what I've been told from local authorities this morning is that they would have some street closures extended possibly 2 days for 2 additional days from this in regards to to what's going on, and in case they have to do this all over again. And we talked earlier about the gag order that was placed on this, and of course the president is scheduled to speak in Mar-a-Lago a little bit later this afternoon. We're about 4 minutes away from a commercial timeout. Let's see if we can't walk down this way a little bit on the sidewalk. I know it's kind of it's hectic, so please.
Sir.
Given the nature of the press is more on this side, therefore I think you have rsbnetwork.com. Go check out our website. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter. It's crucial that, especially right now, just about every day, that you subscribe to our newsletter. Grace Saldana, our editor-in-chief, will push out her and some other fine writers that we have, some of the best in the business. We'll push out our newsletter of things that happen, and as they happen, you'll have them in your inbox. So go sign up for the newsletter right now, rsbnetwork.com, and you get that delivery. You can also, don't forget to donate. Like, we are we've got some great partners, and you've seen them and heard from them throughout this broadcast, but we have some great partners with our network, and we want to encourage. The crowd here, but we just encourage you to please go to our website, RSB Network. Get even longer as we make our way into the afternoon hours and down to 5 here in front of beautiful day here in New York, in front of the courthouse. In a few minutes, we will be right back.
Welcome to the My Pillow 2.0.
How are you? Trump 2024, baby. Hold it up. 2024, baby. Trump 24.
24. Trump 24. Yeah. Let's go. Give it all, baby. 45, now back to 47. 45 to 47. Let's go. Yeah. FJB. FJB. Fuck Joe Biden. Fuck Joe Biden. Fuck Joe Biden. Fuck Joe Biden. Go.
Trump is innocent. Trump is innocent. Trump is innocent. Trump is innocent.
Stop the witch hunt. 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 24. Trump 24. Trump 24. Trump 24. Trump 24. Trump 24. That's why you get arrested.
They're gonna keep trying.
Do they take his actions and twist them, or do they make up things he never did? Well, do they make up things do they make things up, or do they distort things he actually did, or both?
Get it closer. Oh, wow.
Coffee today. In the meantime, I'm sitting back over to Brian Glenn live in
Seen a lot of familiar faces so far today. Here's our next guest is a familiar face to a lot of people, especially the President Trump. Chris Cox for Bikers for Trump, probably one of the biggest organizations that you guys have all come together to support the president.
Yeah, so we're national. We've got hundreds of thousands of members, and we came out today to show support for Donald Trump. And, we're wondering where the indictments are for Hunter Biden or the Clinton family. What about the indictments for the people that went to Epstein's Island, paid to have sex with underage girls? What about Fauci? Doesn't he have a lot of questions to ask? What about the Iraqi war criminals? This is just par for the course, and, what's next is all we can,
The president, I know, he's called you guys out. He really appreciates the way you guys have all come together. You're one of the biggest organizations in the country. No matter where he goes, you've got members that will go to these cities, show support. I saw you guys rumble in at one of these rallies, and I'm mistaken where, I think it was maybe in Pennsylvania, maybe. Such a good presence. What's your thoughts on what's happening today? And we'll talk about two things. What's your thoughts on what's happening inside the courthouse, or what they're trying to do? And then what's your take on all of this out here?
Well, it's a sham. Inside the courthouse behind me, this is nothing but a distraction. Before this happened, before these sham indictments were put on him, they were talking about the money that the Biden family peddled, influenced to make millions of dollars. There are a lot of questions that America has right now, and this is nothing but a distraction, just like all the rest of the shams that have come out, from collusion to the 2 impeachments, the dossiers, you name it. Out here, we got a pretty good show of support for Donald Trump right now. I've had some people ask me why we don't have more Trump supporters here, and because Trump supporters have jobs. These guys are out here, they're working. And we're glad for the ones we do have out here. And, the troublemakers are still asleep. They'll get up about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and they'll come out about 8 o'clock tonight. So if this was going on at night, it'd be a little ugly out here.
It'd be a little different story. Now, what's your thoughts on the turnout here? I do like the way they have it divided to kind of separate the two groups.
They just bring you out there and you do a little island.
There's no place
Right.
Members of Congress.
That's a question.
Their support for Donald Trump and his endorsement are what led them to victory. And the fact that they're not here is a little concerning. And, I'm surprised Matt Gaetz sitting out here. Some of the other trailblazers. So moving forward, hopefully they'll be a little more outspoken and they'll learn a lesson from Marjorie.
Do you fear walking the streets here that something's going to happen to you being a Trump supporter? I know that they talk about crime and everything in the city. I mean, obviously you're a very brave man. I don't think you back down to hardly to anyone. But do you have an element of, like, I guess, self-awareness walking around the city?
Yeah, we're concerned. I've had some people suggest I didn't wear my jacket here today, and I thought about it for a second. I thought I can't amputate this jacket from my body right now. I've been wearing this thing for 7 years, and this is what I stand for. And I got to set the example for our members, and a lot of good members we have. The backbone of the biker community is the veteran, closely followed by the blue collar guy. And we're not out here looking for problems, but we're certainly not going to back down. Most guys got deer heads on their wall. I have Antifa masks on my wall. And I'm not looking forward to adding any more to it, but I certainly won't hesitate if the opportunity crosses my path and hands are put on me, and I do it within the framework of the law.
Let's go. One final question. How did you get this organization founded? This is really interesting. I mean, how did you get a couple buddies together? Did it start with one or two of you and then went to 3 or 4? Next you know, you got a dozen guys. To walk me through the organization.
Soon after Donald Trump came off the escalator, he said things like, putting America first. But what really got my attention is he said radical Islam, and it didn't sink his campaign, and it got my attention. So I went around Virginia, North Carolina, and Georgia with a handful of Trump stickers and the biker venues, and I'd strike up a conversation. And 8, 9 out of 10 of them for Donald Trump right off the rip. We might have one straggler there for Ted Cruz or something. But that showed me that we're 9 out of 10 there, and so 90 days later, we're being called a political phenomenon, and we've led the country, even over the RNC and voter registration. You'll hear on the news that the RNC are registering voters at gas stations. Well, it just made us chuckle. That's a page from our book.
I don't have that.
Hi, I live so-called Jamaica, Grenada,
Yeah, well, San Diego never did super hot, right? I wish I could go more, yeah, I don't like the heat. If I'm going to the beach, I want it to be above 80.
And let's make note, many of them, the way they act, the way they behave, they simply don't want us to exist. And I find it really hard to have a conversation with any of them. I'm sure that guy's trying to come, but as you can see, it's just not happening. It's with the emotions and get in the way. But that does tell you a little bit of what it's like here. I have not walked over to the other side, and perhaps we'll do that before we go to kind of give you an idea what it looks like. I can tell you what it smells like. I've smelled marijuana here for the last 2 hours, floating around the air, as I think pretty much this has turned into a smoke fest, I guess. Let's see if we can get these guys over there. Let's see what's going on over there. Out ever since we came here that we were going to identify any individuals that were instigating any type of violence or any type of aggressiveness towards anybody. We were going to call them out. I have not seen of that yet, but I'm going to remind everybody we are on the lookout for that. Let's see if we can walk down here, Miles, if we could. If we maybe we'll get down below.
Brewski beer is the idea that.
Here. What's going on? So 24 here. What's going on, baby? It's your boy Slick.
So break it down. I heard everybody yelling and chanting over here, so I thought I'd come find out what you guys are doing.
Oh, we're chanting Trump 24. We got a couple of liberals that stormed our area over here talking about, we got free healthcare. We got free healthcare. You know what's wrong with America? Go get a job.
Is that their only defense? Is free healthcare?
That's their only defense. That's all I got to say.
Maggot. What's your opinion on what's going on here? I know the opposition's there. They're screaming at us. I said earlier, you can't have a conversation with any of these people because all they want to do is scream back at you.
Well, I mean, listen, that's why we're screaming back. We're here to take the nation back, fight for our country. That's all we can do.
What's it like living in this city?
I love living in New York. I'm from New York, born and raised, so I love it. But right now, the last 3 years has been, horrifying. Actually, I can't even take the train anymore. I drive everywhere. It's very dangerous.
What's up? What it's like to live in this city?
I live in New York.
I think New Jersey. What is it? Oh, a little bit better place, right?
Yeah, not much so.
It's crazy. The crime rate has gone up.
Texas is much better.
Yeah, Texas, Florida.
There we go.
You know.
Oh, they were talking earlier about Bragg. You know what he does is he diminishes the criminal consequences. And then elevates the charges against President Trump, but he diminishes the charges against violent crime against everyone else.
They're just releasing everyone in jail. I see it every day, especially like a lot of people out here just killing, shooting up things or whatever, and they're in and out of jail. They're robbing people during the day, broad day, like Upper East Side. They're robbing people coming out of the banks. It's horrible. So we'll see what happens, but we're going to win this by a landslide. 2024, we're coming back stronger than ever. Much bigger and stronger than ever, baby.
That's what it's all about. I love the fact we all come together. We're all
in unison here.
Take the libtards down. The libtards are going down. The libtards are going to.
We're here. It's all different colors, genders, races here. We stand in unison. Trump 2024, baby. Let's go. They've been blowing that whistle. Listen to me. But there's not one American flag. Excuse me, brother. There's not one American flag hanging over there. Not one American flag hanging over there. Not one American flag hanging over there. Not one. Not one. Not one American flag hanging at all.
That's a great point. That's an excellent point.
Exactly. So how are they liberal? How are they supporting our country? They're not. They're supporting themselves. That's all they're supporting. They're just here because they hate Donald Trump. It's the wrong reason to be here.
I don't know why they're against Trump. Like I said, Trump did so much for this community. And it's crazy. As far as the black community, he helped financially. Employment went up. And far as the stimulus checks. So I don't understand. And then you're from America, you're from this land. How can you hate this land that you're from?
And not even hold up an American flag.
This government is the best government. We cannot argue. It's not like China where you're working for 5 cents. It's not like where you're in Africa getting beat with sticks. This country loves its people, and we should back its government, and not try to tear it down like these criminals are trying to do.
I think it's a great point. Where's the American flag over there? Where's the love for this country? They have a lot of hate. They hate all of us. You do know that. They don't want to silence us. They hate us. They hate us. And
we got to fight for our country, take our nation back, And you see our numbers are a little low today because they tried to scare us all the way up to January 6th. Really tried to scare us away. We typically have thousands and thousands of people, but right now we're going to hold it down with what we got.
Let me hang on. Back off a little bit. I'm going to ask these people. Hang on. Hey, real quickly, where are the American flags? Where's the American flags? Where are they? Where's the flags? Where's the flags? Where's the pride for our country? Where is it? Where is it? Where's the pride for our country? Does anybody love this country? Is it all about hating Donald Trump? Do you love this country? Do you love this country? I don't understand it. They don't love this country. You got a flag? Hey, let me see. Can I buy your flag? I got a flag. There you go. I love this country. There you go. I love this country. Sort of ridiculous. They don't love this country. They don't like this country at all. Not one American flag, not one patriotic symbol or theme over there. It's all about hate. It's all about the division, and it's all about the hate for President Trump, period. It is about hate. It is about hate. That's what they are. They're narcissistic. That's all they are. Narcissistic, self-absorbed, angry people. Narcissistic, self-absorbed people. That's what they are. That's what they are. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. God bless. All right. So here's the thing. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, let's go on down here. Let's come on down here. We'll walk away. Thank you. All right. Well, that's what you got. All right, we're live on the air. If you guys want to comment about what you're seeing today.
Well, I'm seeing on this side, it's amazing. Like, I think there's a lot of great energy here. We're all here to support Trump. And I want to thank you for all that you're doing.
I appreciate it. We feel like we had to be out here today.
I saw you. I didn't know where I was going this morning. And then I walked by and I saw you and I said, okay, this is the right side.
You're funny. Where are you guys from?
New York.
New York. So what's your take on New York right now as far as like the crime? I'm smelling marijuana even as I stand here right now.
Right, I smell that. Driving down here, I haven't been into the city. I'm out on Long Island, so I haven't been here in a bit. It's destroyed. You can see all the graffiti on the buildings. It's just not the same city at all.
Not the same city. Let's take a look at this. What's it right here? This guy right here is saying that there's 4 genders. He's saying the 4 genders. He says what?
That's the one with the free health care. That's the one who got the free health care right there.
He's saying there's 4 genders too.
Oh, he said there's 4 genders. Listen to this guy.
There are 2 genders in the world. 2 genders in the world. 2 genders in the world. There are 2 genders in this world. There are 2 genders in this world. 2 genders. 2 genders. 2 genders in the world.
All right.
Let's go! Man and woman! He's trying to say he's 2 fucking words. 2 genders. That's it. 2 genders. You fit. 2 genders. What's the
You got enough breath to say it out loud. We can barely hear you. We can barely hear you. You say we adjust, man. Okay, you say we adjust, man. Why are there two genders? What do you mean why? There's a dick and there's a pussy. Who does this? There you go. It's that simple. It's that simple, my friend. It's that simple, bro.
Created two genders. All right, well, let's maybe back off over here. All right, we're going to get away from there for just a little bit. You know, it was a discussion I thought was really interesting about the how many genders existed, and I never would thought. Let's see if I'm sorry. Let's take a look at this.
Case dismissed. Case dismissed. Case dismissed. Case dismissed. 2024. Get back.
I don't know if. How you doing? How you doing? We're live on the air right now with Right Side Broadcasting Network. Tell me a little bit about yourself while you're out here.
Well, Trump took those regulations off the backs of those corporations. Sounds like a good idea to me. Trump's gonna build a wall. That wall's still gonna protect us all. Sounds like a good idea to me. It's gonna keep the economy moving again. We're lower taxes for you, my friend. Sounds like a good idea to me. God, hey, well, hell, I've been impeached before. Still got 2024. Sound like a good idea to me. We just want to thank all the liberals for creating so much attention for Trump, getting greater donations to the Republican Party. It's going to be a shoe-in, and every time you try to do this to a good man, you bring yourself down. We're sorry. You got to learn that, right? It's so obvious, right?
I love you being out here. And what's some of the response that you've gotten so far walking around this park?
Men, women, and children of all ages love the naked cowboy. All I do is exuberate.
How long have you been doing this?
I was born naked 52 years ago.
And as far as how long have you been playing
in New York City for 24 years, 8 months, and 13 days today. Every day.
Incredible. And every day. What rain, snow, shine?
I'm not here for any reason. It's because I went to Mardi Gras, Siesta Key, spring break. I do a few things, and I get flown to other countries, but I always work, no matter what.
What are some of the first things that people say to you when they walk up to you? What's the first reaction or first question?
Now, every single day, you're not the real naked cowboy. To which I say, you're right.
But you're close.
Arguing.
But you're having fun out here.
He's younger than you. Aren't you cold? 30 degrees. Aren't you cold? Nope.
Not doing it. If you could sing a message, or you could say a message to President Trump that could be, you know, he's going to watch us later, I'm sure. You're playing. What would your message be to President as far as for hope?
Sing it. Can I just say that I'm a big fan of President Trump. Ever I've read his books. I was always in the success movement my whole life, trying to be successful, rich. I wanted to be the big Donald Trump and have my own apartment on the top of the buildings. I mean, so I just see him not in a political light, although I'm from Ohio, so born and bred, kind of a conservative, so to speak. But I just think Donald Trump's an amazing guy. He's got so much courage and strength. Nobody could put up with this. But then again, someone with my personality, I think I'm kind of like him. It sounds fun.
You got any sunscreen on today?
Yes, I do.
SPF 54 out here for him.
70.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
God bless America. God bless USA. And America. Help me out. Living in the U.S.
America.
Born to be free.
America.
Living in the USA. Get her done, guys.
I'm gonna keep my clothes on for that though. So just saying, I'm not in shape like you. All right, thank you so much. But this is some of the sights and sounds out here as we walk around. Hey, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Yes, sir. All right, let's see. Let's see if we can walk. Maybe give us a little bit more space.
Stop it. Don't be such a eccentric. Don't be such a eccentric. I see it. We love you. We love you still. What a schment. What a eccentric. Here, I'll give you some Yiddish. I'm not even sure.
Maybe let's rotate around, get a little bit out of here. I know that it's been a long couple hours as far as the broadcast is concerned, as far as moving around this park and with equipment, and just want to make sure that we are able to be in a spot that we can post up for a little bit, provide some content, and maybe I'm not sure what we're doing here. I think we're going. Sorry. How you doing? Brian Glenn with Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're live on the air right now. I agree with your sign. We've never had wars under President Trump.
Well, he didn't start any.
He tried
to get out of some, and he faced almost a mutiny when he tried to do that. Yeah.
We talk about the dismal withdrawal out of Afghanistan from Biden, and really how he put not only American men and women troops in harm's way, but he also handed over billions of dollars of our own military equipment to the Taliban.
That's true, but I think there's something even worse, is that we're starving the Afghan people with unnecessary sanctions. And what we should be adopting instead, to save our own butts from this banking crisis, which isn't over, is a global policy of ending poverty, which is what the LaRouche organization is advocating. And the problem with the indictments like this, if the American people see that legal methods are used to block the democratic process, then they're going to become demoralized and cynical. Where the American people need to be allowed to decide the policy-making decisions of their government. And I would say that decision that needs to be made is that instead of hostility and proxy wars, we need a policy of ending poverty through economic development to frankly help us with this crisis of, look, the life expectancy is going down because we've hollowed out our economy. And we're going to have to go to countries like China in particular to build our own manufacturing base, to build the infrastructure, to export what the world needs to develop. And starting wars against them, it's not
the way to do it. It's funny because I think the Democratic Party used to be the party of peace, right? Used to be the ones. Now you've got, you've got President Trump has said it. Marjorie Taylor Greene has also said, hey, we need to come up with that peace. Why aren't we talking about how to solve this with peace? And nobody seems to want to do that or have that discussion, I should say.
I think there's probably tens of millions of people that would like to do that. But the problem is they're being silenced.
Okay, that. I'm not.
I voted for Nfume, but
we talked about people coming out with deranged things like that. That's one of them. That's one of them. He's here to do just that. Okay, so wars. We're proud that we never started any wars, right? And President Trump has said that he can end the Ukraine-Russia conflict.
And look, the American people should try to force the issue of stopping sending weapons to Ukraine and instead demand negotiations, demand a ceasefire and negotiations.
That's one way to do it. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Come on. Thank you. We'll walk out of here. This guy was, I'm not a right-wing media, but I'm not going to sit there and say, keep America white for the love of God. That's what the guy was saying. And when we talked about earlier, these instigators out here, that's one of them. That's one of them saying, keep America white. And none of us watching right now, that is not what we stand for. And that guy's an idiot for saying that on the air. All right. This is the main entrance here of the park. And this is kind of where people are coming and going on both sides, entering the park. And, you know, it has gotten...
Genuine question. Have you battled with the truck investigator guy?
No, which one? The one with the arms?
Yeah. No, not the one.
All right, let's see if we can give you we'll kind of stay here for a second. This is the main entrance here to the park. This is one of them. The other one has been shut off, obviously, for the media. But this does give you a good perspective on the size, I mean, of people that the crowd has grown to over the last couple of hours. It's 12:41 here locally. I believe we'll take a commercial break here at the top of the hour. We'll continue our coverage as Liz Willis is in the studio. And a little bit later today, I'll be live from Mar-a-Lago to cover that 8:15 press conference for that. If you've missed anything so far, I really encourage you to get on our social media. Follow me if you want to. Follow Right Side across the board. Follow me as well at Brian Glenn TV. That's BRIANGLENN TV. As soon as we're done here, I'm going to see if I can't jump on and do some social media, kind of some things from the inside here of different things that you didn't see on the air. There's a lot of stuff going on here that we can't cover all of it. So follow me on Right Side. And I'll push some stuff to our locals page as well for content there. Also, don't forget to sign up for our newsletter, rsbnetwork.com. You can sign up for our newsletter, put your couple information in there. We're not going to sell our list. We're not going to sell your information. It's going to be nice and safe. And we'll be sending out breaking news and developments, not only from this story, but from other stories as well, straight to your inbox. So make sure you do that. And while you're on the website, why not? Why not go ahead and donate? You know, we've got great partners for today's broadcast. We've got some great partners for tonight's broadcast. But sometimes, you know, our biggest partner we have is you. It's the American people watching us right now. So I ask you to please go over to our website and donate. You can sign up for a one-time donation, or you can sign up for a repetitive monthly donation. But I ask you please to do that, and it helps us keep streams like this going, especially here in New York and around the country as this story develops. Now, would we be going to Georgia to do a very similar example? We've heard people say that there's prosecutors in Georgia that are looking to throw whatever they can at the former president. So we'll continue to monitor that. But it all takes money. So I just ask, if you would, please go to our website, rsbnetwork.com/donate. And as the great Larry Elder says, throw a little something in the tip jar for us. I'm Brian Glenn here live in Lower Manhattan in front of the courthouse as you are taking a live look at Collect Pond Park.
How about this for a second? Can I? Careful, my device, bro. What? What? Stay on that for a bit, and then when it goes down. I have his hand in the shot now. I'll move out. He's gonna move his hand in a minute. He's
just adjusting something on the right side. He's getting shots. There we go. Now but now he's tilting back. I think I got some. All right, and then
critics are flying high for air.
Because over the last 8 years, just now how long it's been since Trump came down the golden escalator, they're at Trump Tower, like we're seeing pictures of now. There have been dozens and dozens of times where Trump did something, whether it was Charlottesville or January 6th, and you had everyone sort of come out and say, it's over. Trump, Republicans are finally going to turn on Trump. Helsinki, you can think of so many moments where that was sort of the conventional wisdom.
Even during the campaign.
I'm done. All right, that's enough. That's enough. There you go. That's enough. Get out. Come on, guys. Come on. Come on. That's enough. That's enough. You get your comment.
Excuse me.
Do you think you're next?
I'm here.
Watch your back. Watch your back. Back. Follow me. Are you worried that you're about to be indicted? Are you worried that you're going to come back?
It was your favorite. I turned the volume down for that, just so you know.
Ellie the Beast getting right in front of the mayor and saying, I'm going to appear and support the president.
And she made a point as well that those on the left are the violent ones, because Mayor Adams said to her that she spreads misinformation and that she spreads hate. So it was important that she was here. I wish she'd stay.
Wouldn't you think that more people should be here showing their support to the president?
I agree, and we're more of the Republicans. That's a disgrace thing from them. They're the cause of this. Right. So the fact that not more Republicans are showing their support for this man. I mean, look, we've heard from national Republicans and something unfair when something is done wrongly in this country. Sure. But the fact that not more political leaders are here, it's a disgrace, and that's the problem.
Thank you so much. I got to take this quick phone call. Let's show the pan the crowd real quick.
Good to see you.
Great. Yeah, no, well, I thought I'd do it. How are you? Good. You look great. You look great. Yeah, I'm fine. I go tomorrow. We have a place now in Scotland. All right. Cool. You live in the city now. You're fine. I had enough. Trump 24! Not really. We have an event like this happening right next to you. I mean, you have to come and take a look. But I'm chicken.
The hour in order to go catch a flight down to Mar-a-Lago. So at 1 o'clock, we'll toss a commercial break, and then I've got to get out of here and catch a flight. As I've been told, I must leave at 1 or I won't make it. So with that said, we're going to provide you a live look from the park. The entire time we'll have Liz Willis live in our studio. We also don't know if we have a second camera over at Trump Tower. I have not had a chance to look on our feed for that. But nevertheless, we'll provide you all of the coverage here in Lower Manhattan as this day develops, and maybe after.
Everything on this combination of falsified business records and a campaign finance violation under federal law, that in order to protect as much of the indictment as possible from dismissal, that the indictment that we're going to see is going to include a pairing of that false classification of records with other crimes, with state crimes, because as has been pointed out over the last several weeks, using a federal campaign finance violation as the hook here, as the peg, runs some risk to the prosecution. So I would assume that this indictment is going to contain not one felony charge, but a number of them under several different legal theories.
Jay, looking outside Trump Tower, we can see the security presence there is heavy. Yesterday, I counted something like a dozen SUVs in the president's motorcade leaving Mar-a-Lago to come to New York when he was headed to the airport there. Talking about the security operation for this whole trip, because from the moment he leaves Mar-a-Lago to come here to New York to Trump Tower, then to the courthouse, back to Palm Beach, it's quite an undertaking.
Yeah, and we haven't seen security like this surrounding the former president in quite some time. That motorcade you were talking about, it had about, like you said, somewhere between 7, 11 cars between here and Florida, 2 separate motorcades in 2 different states, obviously. I can tell you, when he's not in the moment that he's in right now with the eyes of the political world on him, former President Donald Trump typically travels in a motorcade of about 3 SUVs, sometimes even 2. He'll go up back and forth from Mar-a-Lago to his golf club to play golf, and he's in 2 SUVs, and sometimes you don't even know he's in there. But yesterday, that was that huge grouping of cars. Right now, some of those SUVs had aides in them to the former president, campaign aides. We saw some sticking their heads out the window trying to record what looked like campaign video of the supporters who had lined the motorcade route, but all of it just a visual representation of the fact that, as I said, the eyes of the political world are on former President Donald Trump right now during this historic moment in modern American political history. The only former president to ever be indicted for a crime. The only former president to ever, or the only current presidential candidate to also be indicted for a crime. Now he's going to be a presidential candidate and a former president stepping into a New York courtroom and surrendering himself to New York authorities.
I think this is the biggest it's probably going to get. Like I said, a lot of people have decided to come out, a lot of people have decided to come out just to basically, make their voice heard, whether they're right or left. So at the end of the day, I don't know if this is going to be, I don't know what it's going to be.
All right. Thank you so much. God bless for coming out here. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Yeah. We'll do that. All right. We're going to go ahead and quickly toss to a commercial break. I've got to get out of here, catch a flight, but I want you to continue watching as we've got cameras around here that are going to absolutely bring all of this coverage to you. Liz Willis is live in the studio as well, and she'll give an update. Plus, we've got some great partners for today's broadcast, and I want you guys to support them as we continue to cover the indictment of President Donald J. Trump here in Lower Manhattan. In a few minutes, we will come right back.
Right Side Broadcasting is known for panning the crowds, showing the packed arenas, and allowing you to see the truth. We've covered hundreds of rallies, briefings, marches, CPAC, and the historic overturning of Roe versus Wade. Right Side Broadcasting was created in 2015 by our founder, Joe Seals, creating a unique broadcasting experience that allows you to make your own decision rather than force-feeding you an agenda. We don't cut
in Florida for Trump's speech here at Mar-a-Lago tonight. Again, he's expected to fly from New York back to Florida and deliver those remarks. We also know aides tell me that Representative Matt Gaetz, another Trump ally in Congress, is going to be here for those remarks as well. So the political ball really rolling with this story, Diane.
It is, and I want to go to Avery Harper on that. I know it's a little bit hard to hear in the field, so that apologies for the confusion there. But Avery, particularly now that Trump, his attorney has said he is going to make remarks when he gets back to Florida today. What are you listening for on the political front there? And I want your take too on what you think about the reaction.
Right, I think he's going to frame this, as we have heard him before, as political persecution. He has framed this as a quote unquote new form of election interference. He's going to continue to bang that drum of calling this a witch hunt. And he is doing that to rally his base. I think that he has said that this could be them. This could be his supporters, right? They are coming for me. He has conflated his own legal troubles with that.
If this happened to me, it could happen to you.
Right. And so we have seen that over and over again. I think we're going to continue to see that. But the fact is that there are other legal troubles that are mounting for the former president. You still have that probe that's going down in Georgia. You have these special counsel investigations into his handling of classified documents, his business around January 6th. If these issues continue to make legal trouble for the former president, I wonder if there will be other Republicans that are more willing.
Where's the banner we had? The other banner.
Trump is now president. Let's go Biden.
Okay. Go.
Hugely careful of what he says. My guess is, however, that
Alvin Bragg right now, how nervous are you? What do you think is going through his mind as he prepares for this case with the world watching?
you're nervous because your legacy, your reputation, your career is dependent upon this indictment, at least largely holding up in court. If it is thrown out, or if that which remains involves charges on which the former president is acquitted, history will remember you that way. So the stakes are high for the DA. They're higher, of course, for the former president, but no doubt about it. You're absolutely right. The stakes are very high for him, and he is nervous today.
And we are taking a look at Trump Tower. Former President Trump is expected to walk out at any moment to turn himself into authorities. He's expected to leave Trump Tower. He'll head to a Manhattan courthouse in Lower Manhattan, where he's surrendering to an indictment there. That indictment will finally be unsealed. Right now, we don't know the exact charges against the former president, but sources say he is facing 24 counts, including felonies in association with the hush money payment to porn star Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 election. Avery, President Biden has been fairly silent on this issue so far. What do you expect to hear from him once this indictment is actually unsealed?
I don't expect to hear anything from President Biden or his administration on this. They have really not touched this at all. And I think it behooves them to do so because this is someone who is running for president. This is a political opponent of President Biden. And they have, frankly, nothing to do with this investigation. There are other probes that include a special counsel. There has really been an effort from the Justice Department to further itself from the matters concerning Trump for the appearance of a conflict of interest. And so I think what we're going to continue to see on the Republican side of things is folks continue to speak out in support of former President Trump, even those who are going to be running against him for the Republican nomination.
All right. So again, we are keeping a close eye on Trump Tower. Former President Trump is expected to leave at any moment. He'll be surrendering to authorities in New York, making his way from Trump Tower there on Fifth Avenue to Lower Manhattan. The indictment against him will then be unsealed, and for the first time, we will learn the charges against him. What we know so far is that this investigation has focused on the hush money payment made to porn star Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 election. She had alleged having a sexual relationship with former President Trump before he ever was in office, before he even ran for office. But the allegation is that she had a story to tell. She was paid to keep quiet about that story, and that there was some illicit behavior in terms of how that payment was made and how that payment was covered up. His former attorney and fixer, Michael Cohen, has already testified in that grand jury investigation. Stormy Daniels herself testified in that grand jury investigation. And the former president was invited himself to testify, though he did not. And we found out last week that the former president was indicted in that investigation. So today is the day that indictment will be unsealed, and we will learn what those actual charges are. I want to go back to Jay O'Brien, who's in Florida right now, just outside Mar-a-Lago, where the president is expected to head after this indictment is then expected to make remarks about what happens today in court. Jay?
Very good. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and we don't know what he's going to say, but the eyes, as I've been saying this morning, the eyes of the political world are on the former president here, because not just the historic nature of him walking into this Manhattan courthouse, surrendering himself to authorities while he's still actively running for president, but then he's going to fly back here and he's going to deliver his first, at least planned, public remarks since doing that. We don't know if he's going to speak maybe before entering court or after entering court, but certainly there are at least planned remarks for this evening in prime time here at Mar-a-Lago. And the question, as Avery's been saying, as others have been saying over the course of this morning, is what does he say? How does he frame this indictment in the larger political context of his run in 2024?
And so we will wait to hear those remarks from former President Trump. But of course, before we hear from the president, we will see the president. And that's why we're keeping our eye there on Trump Tower. He's expected to leave Trump Tower at any moment. This was his home for decades while he was in the White House and for a long time before. So this is a familiar home for President Trump and for the NYPD protecting him. But we haven't seen this level of security outside Trump Tower since the former president was in office. And now we're going to go to our special report as we await this indictment of former President Trump.
This is an ABC News special report. Now reporting, David Muir.
Good afternoon, and we're coming on the air because we're about to witness a moment never before seen in American history. A former president indicted on criminal charges, now moments away from surrendering to authorities right here in New York City. Former President Donald Trump, a short time from now, will be arraigned. He'll be brought before a judge in Lower Manhattan. And of course, you're looking live at Trump Tower, the scene outside Trump Tower, where at any minute, the former president, who of course is now running for president for a third time, will emerge and will make his way down to the courthouse in Lower Manhattan. In fact, our reporting team tells us he's actually in the elevator in Trump Tower, making his way down right now. He'll travel through Midtown Manhattan, escorted by the Secret Service and the NYPD. It's about a 4-mile trip to criminal court in Lower Manhattan. When he gets there, he's expected to be brought into the courthouse rather quickly, brought into an elevator there, straight up to the 15th floor. It's our understanding that there will be cameras in the hallway when he gets off the elevator, but not in the courtroom. The Trump team had argued last night against television cameras in court, the Trump team saying that it would create a circus-like atmosphere. Camera right there, though, trained on Trump Tower. The former president expected to emerge at any moment. Now, in the courtroom, we also know it's believed there will be still cameras to capture images right before the proceedings. The first president, former or current, to ever face criminal charges. The former president spent the night in Trump Tower, we're told, huddled with his legal team, preparing for what is about to come.
Highly partisan, also attacking the judge's family, calling those family Trump haters. And Jeff Begay, I understand we have new information about a new threat against this judge.
Well, there have been threats coming in for quite some time now, but it's important to mention, I think, Nora, as well, that there are no specific or credible threats. Saying that, you still have these issues with a lot of chatter online from people threatening the judge or threatening the DA. And in fact, CBS News has learned that there was a threat, a bomb threat, a detonator threat against DA Alvin Bragg. The threats, they think, according to our reporting, is coming from a Russian server. So this is the other issue that intelligence agencies as well as the NYPD are dealing with right now are these bogus threats. You have to check everything out because you can't be, you want to make sure everything is safe and secure.
Thank you for pointing that out. As Trump is making these threats on social media against the judge, we are reporting that there is a new spate of email threats against the district attorney, Alvin Bragg himself, that is being handled by the many law enforcement officials who
I got it. It's like years ago. Done. Huh? That's it. It's on fucking match. That's what I tell you. No, I don't know. Yeah,
Oh, no, I'm a student from CUNY.
It's everything you wish for. Your site traffic is skyrocketing.
Kubota equipment is ready to
With Ollie, Is he given his Miranda rights? Give her to him.
There's got to be kind of an out-of-body experience for the investigator to say, Mr. President, you have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney. The legal complication here is there's a couple of rules and laws in play here. He's represented by counsel. The DA's office understands that, and they're not allowed to question him. But Karen raises the point, if he starts talking, as Donald Trump is sometimes wont to do, and making spontaneous statements, if one of them is relevant, is that usable?
Yes, this happens all the time. People make statements during booking that get used against them at trial constantly. And this is another moment. If he has been read his Miranda rights, you have the right to remain silent. That is another reality hit. That is another sobering moment. The other thing I should add is right about now is the time when the defense lawyers would be given the indictment, because they need to go through it in advance, because what will happen in the actual courtroom is the judge will ask the defendant and the defense lawyers, have you had a chance to go through this indictment? Because they have to know what's in it before they can plead. And then the judge will say, would you like me to read it to you publicly, or do you waive the public reading? Do you give up the public reading? 90% of the time, maybe more than that, the defendant says, we waive it. We don't need you to read it out loud publicly. We've got reportedly 30 plus counts here. I imagine they will waive it. Maybe they want to stand on ceremony and have every single one of those 30 plus counts read. But right about now, it should be in their hands.
The court, it was supposed to be 2:15, correct?
Yes, it's supposed to be 2:15 now.
Is that something they would move up depending on how fast the processing goes, or is 2:15 the time?
The courts take a break for lunch every day from 1 o'clock to 2:15. That is one of those things that is just.
So you think they're in lunch break right now?
Because these guys didn't get to eat, if that's true. But I think the other thing is there is nothing normal.
That's the final indignity, that they're on lunch break, if that's the case.
But this is a day that where nothing is the same. So the courthouse was basically closed down.
With one of the best.
years.
When the defense is going to be provided a copy of that indictment, Joe Tacopina, again, earlier said he may want some extra time with the defense team and with Mr. Trump to review those documents. So court officials have informed us there is a back room behind the courtroom that if they want a little extra time to go over the document and speak to Mr. Trump and converse about how they're going to handle this hearing, this 2:15 start, if it starts on time, could be delayed if that request is made.
And will part of this process be scheduling a new date, and what would that next date be for?
Well, some legal experts, Danny might know better than me, would say this is months away. You're looking at a May, June return at best. Look, the defense has said right away, they're going to file a motion to dismiss. They're going to file motions alleging the DA is biased.
Did that happen today?
No, they won't file a motion today. Under the rules, some motions have to be filed, I believe, within, I think it's 45 days. So, for example, within that 45 days, you might see a venue transfer motion. The strange thing about those motions is that courts in New York almost never deal with them. They would prefer to get to voir dire and actually the trial date to deal with that. But you will see some motions filed in all likelihood within 45 days of the arraignment, because that's the date that many motions have to be filed in the state of New York by the rule. So, yes, the next date is probably going to be something that is scheduled for a motions hearing, because you have a relatively short period of time. Once you notice that motion, notify the court and your adversaries that you're making a motion. The court will usually set a hearing date, or in New York, for example, sometimes the litigants, at least in civil court, can pick a date themselves, which the court may move around depending on scheduling. So, look, the court will accommodate dates for regular unknown litigants. They're certainly going to accommodate the wishes of these litigants because it's what they do anyway. And that goes for trial dates, too. A lot of folks are asking, when's the trial date? Well, I think the answer to that is, what do the parties want? Because I've had trials rescheduled because a prosecutor has a prepaid vacation. So it'll give you an idea that courts will accommodate dates that are important to the litigants. The key here is, what if Trump wants, for example, a trial before the election, and the DA's office wants it after the election? How do you split that difference? That's going to be a difficult dilemma for the court. It may be avoided if both sides want it either before or after. But scheduling in this case is going to be really critical, because we're not dealing with a prepaid vacation. We're dealing with a national election in just a few months. So believe me, both sides have huddled together and they've mapped out the pros and cons of scheduling this trial, whether it should be before or after the election.
But ultimately, though, it will come down, Danny, to what Donald Trump wants, because his legal team can huddle and discuss timing and scheduling as much as they'd like. But unless they have buy-in from the former president, we have seen him, frankly, blow up what his advisors have asked for in the
outside of the courtroom. Inside of the courtroom, it is really routine. It's going to be an arraignment. One of the things as a prosecutor, and Danny kind of mentioned this earlier on, is there's going to be a lot of motions that you wouldn't normally see in everyday trials. You're going to see the defense attorneys really file motions with regard to like change of venue. That was something that we saw in the Cosby trial as well. Statute of limitations, due process violations with the length of time that the investigation took. So you're going to see a lot of those motions, which are typically summarily dismissed, that will be pages and pages and pages of motions created by Trump's very prominent legal team. But one of the things to keep in mind is that even though there's a lot of chaos going around outside, it's going to be very routine in the courtroom.
Well, let me ask, juries are obviously told not to read or follow news accounts of whatever case they're on, but do prosecutors follow what's written and what's being said about their case and adjust accordingly?
I think it would be best that they do, mainly because every member of the jury are still human beings. And so members of the public who are giving their opinions about the way that the case is going, that's a really important opinion to consider, because if they're thinking that the evidence is not coming in as beautifully as the prosecutor thinks that is, then perhaps they need to change what they're doing. Now, it is important to note that prosecutors generally do have an ethical obligation not to really create a narrative, not to taint any potential jury pool or create any issues that could be raised on appeal with regard to narratives out in the public.
Sustainability.
Coming in and out of Trump. He gave that brief kind of fist pump, but you can tell, I think anyway, having followed and known him for so long, the weight of the moment he undoubtedly feels. And I think that's why he hasn't done a lot of what they initially said he was going to do. I mean, there was talk of him having a big event at the Trump Tower. I think I mentioned to you earlier, David, there was even talk of him riding down the escalator to go down to the lobby on the way to being arraigned, kind of reenacting the announcement of his 2016 presidential campaign. But there's been none of that. He's been, he has been quiet. He's getting in and out of New York as quickly as he possibly can. I'm sure we're going to see him, going all out tonight in Mar-a-Lago, and he's been doing his social media. I mean, he actually, issued a social media post from that motorcade down to the courthouse, once again, attacking this judicial system.
And in fact, John, he said, heading to Lower Manhattan, the courthouse seems so surreal. Wow, they are going to arrest me. That was the message from former President Donald Trump on his way to court. Kate.
And we've been using the term he's under arrest. And I think it's worth pausing for a second. I think we think of arrest as just involving handcuffs, but arrest means you're not free to leave, and he has not been free to leave. He is under arrest since he entered that courthouse.
A very different scenario from what he's used to here.
Absolutely. He's the most powerful person in most rooms. As John was just saying, he's going to walk in here, he's going to walk into that courtroom, and he is not the most powerful person, the judge, the DA, but certainly not former President Donald Trump.
I think just the facial expressions of the officers in this hallway say a lot, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, look, they know this is a big deal. And as you said, David, whether you support Donald Trump or you don't support Donald Trump is irrelevant. I think for the purposes of the law enforcement that are there, they're there to do a job. They know it's an important one. They know this is a serious moment. They know that they have to take this seriously. They know that the cameras are focused on them. And so, I think that this is reflecting that. But then again, there is also something about this, and while this is very different from what happens every day in this courthouse, most people who aren't lawyers would know this courthouse from jury duty. And that's about it. But these are the same officers who are there. Many of them, they've obviously enhanced the number there, who work in these courtrooms every day, who work with the juries every day, and they're just there and doing their job.
They are doing their job. We saw a gentleman in the suit there and the pin, which gives it away to Secret Service, Pierre. Layers of law enforcement gathered throughout Manhattan today. The barricades, a couple of barricades deep outside the courthouse, outside Trump Tower. That is usually the case, though reinforced, obviously knowing that the former president was coming back to New York from Mar-a-Lago. Just the coverage in the last 24 hours on cable news, the live coverage of his plane taking off from Florida and then landing in New York. Surreal in nature, though reminiscent of other inflection points along the way in covering Donald Trump, his political career. And now it brings us here to criminal court in Lower Manhattan. Every time we hear one of those tones or those bells, we wonder, is it the elevator? Is it some sort of signal? Now, we do know that they had always intended to have this arraignment at about 2:15 Eastern here in New York. We know from Aaron, John, Catherine's reporting that the president has been fingerprinted, has been processed, booked like any other criminal defendant already. That what's transpired here in the interim is that the former president and his legal team have now been given the indictment. It's important to point out that they also had no hint, like the rest of us, waiting today to see what Alvin Bragg is going to present in this courtroom as far as the indictment against Donald Trump. They have not seen it until today. So this trip up the 15th floor in this elevator that's been reserved for the former president will no doubt include, at some point along the way, a moment to read through this indictment, to digest what they will be in that courtroom to face. And Terry Moran, this notion that once you walk into a courtroom and you're before the judge, there's nothing more stark than that moment when you realize the judge is now in control.
Absolutely. Having spent a lot of time in courtrooms covering trials, as Dan did as well, that is an ominous moment for anyone in the position of Donald Trump, and we should spare a thought right now for the many, many thousands of Americans who aren't famous, who have come within the grip of the long arm of the law, justly, maybe some unjustly. Donald Trump now as well. And I always thought covering trials, going into courthouses around the country, that I was lucky to be a reporter, because you always see people having the worst day of their lives.
This is an observer. And today, he is the participant. He's the person who is being charged, being fingerprinted. And he used to ask about that process as well. How does that work? What happens when they get surrendered to the FBI? So,
of the judge as we speak.
Well, David, look, two different contexts, right? He's been extraordinarily successful, as Dan had mentioned earlier, on the civil side of things. And civil, by its very nature, is a little more collegial often, a little less serious, and a little more prone to delay. There is a right to a speedy trial in the Constitution. And so prosecutors are always under pressure, try to move as quickly as possible. And judges don't let defendants normally do anything that creates undue delay. So I think his normal practice that he's been successful at on the civil side will have much less success on the criminal side of things. He may have some, but much less success.
Donald Trump, for most of his adult life, his whole goal to become demanded. He ran for president hoping that would break through, that the elites of New York, the elites of Manhattan would embrace him, the elites of Washington would embrace him. That's never going to happen. So, of course, he's taken this other direction and has gone in this different place. But at the end of the day, the former president's been arraigned. He's been arrested. The country is still standing. I think it is a reminder of the strength of our institutions. We sit here and talk about how weak they are or how unpopular they are right now. I do think that this is a day that we ought to remind ourselves that whatever you think of these institutions, they're working as intended. He's going to get as fair of a trial as is possible under these circumstances, and the chips are going to fall where they may.
Danny, how do you feel about the health of the rule of law as it's perceived and faith in the rule of law, and whether this kind of thing, does erode some of that?
The law for lawyers is our faith in some sense. I mean, it governs not just our profession, but we're governed by rules of ethics. And so I think every lawyer, as much as we criticize the system, and I have plenty of complaints about courthouses and the fact that they're not very tech savvy, and I can make all kinds of complaints about the fact that, why don't we have this indictment right away? Well, I've been in a lot of courthouses. Jonathan has too. Laura has too. They're not the Apple Store. They're probably don't even have many scanners on each floor. So I have plenty of complaints about how the system works, but I do believe in it. I believe it's the only thing that we have, the thing that separates us from other countries, other places that don't treat the accused as well as the United States does. And in fact, that often is, me included, part of my closing argument.
before the hearing ends.
So the video cameras, that sole shot we had in the hallway, that's the only one that's allowed in this
inside
process.
the building, the hallway, the public hallway, but he will not allow a television camera into that courtroom at all, and still cameras just at the very beginning of what was going to be that hearing.
I can imagine people will see what they want to see, perhaps in this photo and body language, but it makes the statement more powerful than anything we've seen up to this point. That this is a president who's now reaching a new level of accountability, and faces these charges, which apparently we believe his legal team is now knows, now that this hearing is underway, but the rest of us still waiting to see exactly what these counts are, what the strategy was of the DA, and what they plan to build this case on.
A different photo here of the former president now from one of the photographers who was in the room. Again, prior to these proceedings beginning, you talk about accountability, Lester, and for Democrats, and we've seen reaction from many of them today as well. We've talked a lot about the Republican Party because of Donald Trump's grip on that party, because of the dynamics politically as it relates to the people who want to run against him, who believe that it is Donald Trump's time to step aside and let a new generation of leadership come up in the GOP. But we've heard from Democrats who I think will say that in their view, and another photo here, that this accountability is overdue in some ways. Of course, on the other side of the aisle, you have this continued drumbeat of the idea of political persecution. I mean, we're seeing that even from the head of the Republican National Committee coming out today and decrying what is unfolding as we speak inside this courtroom. Jonathan mentioned roughly 15 minutes long. It should be wrapping then by that timeline in the next 2 to 3 minutes here. They walked in right around 2:28. But here we see another image from inside of the former president of the United States seated in a courtroom in downtown Manhattan, facing now these charges, which we should hopefully know here what the specifics of them are in the next couple of minutes.
Kristen Welker, you're looking at these photos along with us. You've covered this president. Give us your thoughts.
Well, Lester, you can see the weight of this moment, I think, in Mr. Trump's face. And as I was saying earlier, one of his advisors said that from the view inside Trump world, these next few days are going to hurt. Well, you can see that playing out. I think that this is a heavy moment. It strikes me that we are standing here next to hundreds of protesters, Lester, but from the moment that the former president walked in to face this indictment, I have to tell you, it's been quite quiet outside of the courthouse. It's been somber. And I think that reflects really the mood of the country right now. This is a somber moment as we watch the first former U.S. president face an indictment, face criminal charges. Now, Hallie talked about Democrats who are weighing in. The one person who's not weighing in right now is President Biden. And Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre was just asked about that. Why would he weigh in, for example, on January 6th and not this moment? She said, January 6th was just a different moment. It just was. It was something that was incredibly devastating. People died on that day. And then in talking about this moment, she said, we know that Americans still very much care about this. When it comes to a criminal investigation like this that is ongoing, we are just not going to comment.